Hey everybody. So a couple of friends of mine asked me to do a video of me making yogurt in my Instant Pot and then using that yogurt to make my overnight oats. So first off, let me get started just by saying that the Instant Pot that I have is the Duo 60 model. So it's a 6-quart. It has a multitude of other functions, but one of them specifically, it has an actual yogurt setting. You use this and you want to make sure that you use the ultra pasteurized. The recipes that I've found, it all says to use 52 ounces of a product called True Life, which is the same thing, it's just ultra pasteurized milk, and then 2 tablespoons of yogurt. But I double the recipe, and being on a budget and being budget conscious, I just use plain old ultra pasteurized milk instead of using the True Life. And usually I just do the store brand, but I couldn't find any, so I had to go with the Dairy Gold milk. So let's go ahead and dump both of those in there. And then since I'm using essentially a gallon of milk, the recipe that I found, it said to use 2 tablespoons of yogurt for a 52 ounce of True Life. And since I double it and it's 2 half gallons, I go ahead and I just use 6 tablespoons of yogurt. Now with the yogurt, you want to make sure that you use a plain yogurt. And if I can find it here, if you can see that, you want to make sure your yogurt says that it's made with actual dairy products and that it has live active cultures in it. If it doesn't have that, your yogurt's not going to turn out. So let's do the 6 tablespoons of this. So once you have everything in there, get out your old whisk. Whisk it to make sure everything is incorporated in there. Put your lid on. Now since it's not really having to come up to any kind of pressure, it really doesn't matter if you turn the pressure release knob to venting or sealing. It doesn't make any difference at all. So it actually doesn't pressurize at all. So right now it says off. So you come here to the yogurt function and it displays 8 hours. So my understanding is it goes anywhere from 8 to 10 hours depending on how long you set it. And the longer you set it, the more tangy the yogurt becomes. It doesn't really matter about the thickness or nutrition or anything like that. It just makes it a little bit more tangy. So my yogurt is going and the Instant Pot is set, so I will see you in 8 hours. All right, good morning folks. So as you can see, the yogurt has finished counting up to the 8 hours and now displays yogurt on the screen, so that indicates that it is done. So go ahead and push your cancel button, turns it off. Go ahead and unplug the unit from the wall. Take the lid off. And voila! So now that your yogurt is done cooking, you've turned the Instant Pot off and you've unplugged it from the wall, your next step is you want to strain it. You want to get rid of some of the whey from the yogurt and make it a thicker product. When you first get done making it, it's going to be pretty thin, so it kind of depends on what your desired consistency is. If I'm just making regular yogurt, I make it pretty thick, so I strain the heck out of it. I bought this. It's called a Euro Cuisine yogurt strainer. It has a little mesh basket inside that you pour the yogurt into. All the whey drips out and collects in the bottom. So it really depends on what you're using it for and your preference on how thick you want it. Since I'm going to be using it to make my overnight oats, I don't want it too thick, but I don't want it super thin. So I'm going to strain half the batch for about 6 to 8 hours, and then the second half of the batch I'll only strain for probably, I don't know, about 2 to 4 hours, just to get rid of some of the whey, and then I'll mix the two together and it'll be pretty good consistency. Alright, so let's go ahead and we'll dump that first part of the batch in there. Go ahead and give it a quick little shake there. Put it in the fridge and let it go for 8 hours. The other half of the batch, just go ahead and pour into a bowl. Okay, so the yogurt has now strained for about 7 hours, and I just wanted to show you a quick difference in the two. This is the unstrained yogurt. I mean, it's thicker, but it's still pretty thin. And this is the strained yogurt. It's quite a bit thicker, and if you leave it long enough, it'll really thicken up and get pretty tight like a Greek-style yogurt. So now I will go ahead and I'll just scoop this into my container. And then I'll go ahead and strain the second half of the batch. Okay, so now that you've strained your yogurt, I'm gonna go ahead and make my overnight oats. So you start with 1 cup of the yogurt. And then you do half a cup of oatmeal. And you want to make sure that you use the old-fashioned oats. Don't use the instant oats or the quick oats. It turns out real mushy and gummy. Use the old-fashioned oats. Aside for that, they're a much better source of fiber, and they're going to sustain you a lot longer. The quick oats or the instant oats, they're pretty devoid of all nutrition. So use the old-fashioned oats. And then I like to put a serving of chia seeds, which is 3 tablespoons. A serving of flaxseed, which again is 3 tablespoons. And I just like to give that a quick stir. And then I add 1 serving, which is about a cup, of the mixed berry frozen blend. I like to add them frozen because then overnight they thaw out and they have a better consistency. If you put in just unthawed fruit, it's just going to get real mushy. like to just fold the berries in so it's completely covered. And then spoon the mixture into a little mason jar. And that's it, you're done. Put the lid on it, put it in the fridge overnight, and enjoy the hell out of it the next day. It's absolutely delicious, super sustaining. It's high in fiber, high in good fats and everything, so it's just a really good breakfast. And if I did my math correctly, it's about 680 calories. You can add like a tablespoon of honey to it or a little bit of peanut butter. You can use any kind of fruit mixture that you want. One thing that I suggest is stay away from anything that has citric acid in it. I figured that out. I did a mix that had pineapple in it, and the pineapple, the citric acid started to kind of curdle the milk a little bit, and it just had a really unsettling flavor and wasn't very good. So other than that, I mean, sky's the limit. A buddy of mine puts powdered peanut butter in his, and he's also put bananas in, and he said that he put them in fresh and they got really kind of mushy. So my thinking is slice them and freeze them and then put them in, but I haven't tried that yet. That's my yogurt and my overnight oats. If you've liked this video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I'd appreciate it. See you next time, guys.